Richards, and I'm independent Stampin' Up demonstrator in southern Tasmania. Just forgive me as I get my iPad up and running. Experimenting with a new lighting setup today. I've got some sort of professional, lights, but it's a matter of working out the best position for them. And there you go, the sound's all right. Yeah, I've got some professional lights. It's a matter of working out the best position. This one, my youngest son, who was just messaging, just said to me, you've got to have one down at camera level. So that's what I've got. But it always worries me with all the shadows. But anyway, we'll see. We'll see how we go. If the shadows are probably a little bit difficult, we'll just go back to another way and we'll keep trying. Anyway, so that's cool. I did watch one of the big American demonstrators doing a video recently, and she did have a light right down by her camera. So maybe Sammy's right. Let's see. Okay, so we're going to be making what I've called a trellis / fence, because this is a little fence down here I've turned that trellis into. It's a reverse easel fold card. So yeah, I've seen the fence cards made just as a straight card quite a lot recently. They're one of the popular folds at the moment. But this one, I've changed it slightly and turned it into a reverse easel so that when it sits up like this. So I think that's a little bit fun there. A little bit of an added extra little dimension to this particular design. So I think that's really fun. And we're doing reverse easel cards at my Come Craft With Me session on Tuesday night. So I thought it was a good time to start having a bit of a play with that design as well. So anyway, we'll do this one. I just want to show you before we get started, I've made a couple here, and I know I said I wouldn't bring in too many new products until they're actually available to customers, but I have made a couple here with the brand new stamp set that's coming out very, very soon called the Cheerful Daisies. It's actually a whole suite, so it's got some beautiful paper and some lovely bright daisies as well. So I did the same sort of card here with the reverse easel and some of the beautiful paper as well. So yeah, we can mix that up. I might make something similar to this on Tuesday night if you'd like to pop on and have a little play with us. I also did, we're also using the Cheerful Daisies. I also have done the plain just A4 card, just plain portrait card. So this one doesn't have an easel involved. So that's just the plain sort of trellis card there with the fence, and again the beautiful Cheerful Daisies. So it's a really nice suite. I'm actually thinking of featuring it as a product class once it goes live to customers. So please watch out for that one if you like your daisies bright and beautiful, and who doesn't? I'm actually going to try another thing. I just went to a local bed, bath and table store recently, and they had these on sale after Easter. They're little clay sort of models, I suppose, just tiny little flowers there. And I thought I would try and incorporate those with my beautiful Cheerful Daisies as well. So, and there's some daffodils there as well. So they're obviously left over from Easter marketing, but they've got nice little flat bottoms, and I think I'll be able to glue them onto cards quite easily. Yeah, might not get them in the envelope, but yeah, just the colours of them really caught my eye. Okay, so let's get on with our little guide that we're going to be doing today, and I'll show you what I've got. I was all meaning to pop these measurements up before we started, but didn't happen because I started messaging my son up north to talk to him about this setup, and I sort of got carried away. Okay, but I will pop them all up because I've got them while they're fresh in my memory. It's an 11 by 4 1/8 card base, and it's been scored as usual at 5.5 and 2 3/4 and 5.5. So that's where you get your Z fold from. So I'm just going to burnish that one and that one. So 11 inches, 4 1/8 inches, scored at 2 3/4 and 5.5. So that gets our Z. So that's our easel there. Then we have another piece of basic white, and I'm using thick here because I like the card base to be nice and rigid. Another piece of white thick cardstock here, and it is 4 1/8 by 3, and that's going to sit up here. So that's going to be the little bit that has the sky paper on there. So I'm using the Rain or Shine Designer Series paper. As you can tell, I had a heck of a lot of it. Somehow I've got packets and packets of it. So I thought I'd better use some before it retires. It is currently available. I checked this morning. It's currently available and it's on sale. I think it must be 30% off. So it's down to a lovely sort of more reasonable price if you're watching your pennies at the moment like we all are. Okay, so this is going to be the top bit. I have 2 pieces of the Rain or Shine Designer Series paper. So we've got the beautiful sky with the clouds and the blue sky there, and a wee bit of the daisies. So they're both from the same piece. That's from the top of it and that's from the bottom of it. It was one of those landscapey ones, and that one's going to pop down in here. Sammy's still messaging me about my he's still messaging me about that microphone. He's obsessed. Okay, anyway, so there we are. So that one's going to sit down the bottom there, but we've got a fair bit to do before we get to that. Okay, the way I have done this one is to keep it rigid is I've used a tiny bit of window, let's see if I can get it to shine, window sheet behind there. There's another way of doing it, but I'm going to use the window sheeting here again, and I'll show you. If you don't have window sheeting, there is an alternate that I did on one of the other cards, and I'll show you at the end what I've done. I've basically just made it more rigid with a couple of strips of white cardstock behind there just to give it a bit more strength. So otherwise it's going to be a bit wobbly when it sits up, and we don't want that. Nothing worse than wobbly. So anyway, what we're going to do first is pop our card base away and grab our 3" by 4 1/8" piece of cardstock and our Designer Series paper. I'm going to pop that on first just with some glue or some snail or whatever you use, your adhesive of choice. I was going to show you the final cards for my launch before I got started today. I'm taking reserving places now for my online launch, which will be an all-day or 6-hour event on the 28th of May. It is obviously for the card kits and things. You need to be an Australian resident, but if you're living overseas, if you're in the States or wherever, you can purchase the online only content for 20 Australian dollars. So if you're interested, you'd like to pop on and see what I feature, then by all means just contact me. I can send you a PayPal invoice for that in whatever currency you're paying in. Okay, so I've got my little piece of window sheet here. It's a bit hard to tell when it's so see-through. I'm going to pop a piece of double-sided tape just along the top of that, just at the very top, and then I'm going to position it so that the combined length of this piece and the window sheet is the same as this, so 5 1/2 inches. So I found the easiest way of doing it is just bring in your card base that you've already cut, just position that on top there, just line it up, and then bring this, or might be the other way might be easier, position your window sheet so that it lines up at the bottom, just like that. So we've already got the sticky exposed, so it's nice and straight. Then line this one up at the top and just firm them together. Line this one up so you know that's now going to be a combined length of 5 1/2 inches, and just firm that down. Okay, so together now those two pieces are 5 1/2 inches long, which means they'll fit perfectly on the front of our card. Now I'm going to have to close my door because my RoboVac is somewhere where it's making lots of noise on the floor, so I'll just close the door. Can't get good help these days. Noisy RoboVacs, I tell you. It's quite funny. I get to the end of my video and I think, wow, I've done a video and I've vacuumed the floor today, when really I haven't done anything of the sort. Anyway, so that's our the front of our easel card there. So the next thing we can probably do is bring in the fence, this little fence here. So we can pop that on before we assemble the card. And to make our little fence, I've got 6 pieces of white cardstock. Now this can be normal cardstock or thick, doesn't really matter, whatever you've got around. 6 pieces, they're all 4 and an 1/8 inch long, and they're 1/2 inch wide. Okay, so at the moment they're just plain strips of paper. So what I'm going to do, and I think it adds a little bit and makes it look like an actual fence, is I'm going to pop those through my wood grain embossing folder. Just bring my cut and emboss over. I'm just going to pop these through the wood grain embossing folder, which is here. I think it's staying available if you haven't got one already. I know practically every brand of crafting supplier has a wood grain embossing folder, of course. I'm going to try and keep them perpendicular, parallel to each other, but it's not going to matter too much if they slip out. But I am keeping them lengthways so that the grain goes the same way on all of them. So there we are, they're all set up there. Sorry, I've got that in a bad place, you can't see. I've got them all set up there in my wood grain embossing folder, and I'll just pop them through. And that's going to give each of these little planks the look of a wooden fence. That's the plan anyway. So this takes this card from just being a plain trellis card to an actual fence card, which is cool. Okay, so 4 of them I'm going to line up basically on our window sheet. So lining it up top and bottom, and then popping another couple on in the middle there like that. So lining them so the top is in line with the top, the gap, the seam between the cardstock and the window. The last one is lining up exactly with the bottom of the window. And I knew 2 of them were a little bit skinnier, so I'll keep them out. And then 2 of them sort of equally in between those 2. So I'm going to use, again, I'm going to bring in my double-sided tape and just pop that there. And I'll pop these on. So as I say, they're 1 inch wide and they line up exactly with the white paper. So they're 4 1/8 inch long. There's the bottom one. He's already decided to stick himself. After I finish this video, I'm going to pop up to my mum's house up the road for a wee while. Final finishing touches are being put on her greenhouse today, so it's all very exciting. Feels like we should have a bottle of champagne to celebrate. It's been quite good. The whole family got together and popped that together for her. She loves her gardening, and especially it's been a bit of a lifesaver for her since my dad passed. I'm just going to try and using my grid paper to make that semi-straight. Yes, so the greenhouse should be up by lunchtime, I reckon. My hubby Steve's just headed down to help, and my brother-in-law's already there. 2 very different men, my husband and my brother-in-law. It's amazing that my sister and I chose such different people. Stevie's a bit of a laid back, you'll get to it when he gets to it type guy. And Michael's a up and at 'em, early, knock it off quick type guy. So they're very, very different to each other. I have to say my dad was a bit more like Steve. He was a bit of a it'll get done when it gets done type guy. So I know where I got it from. I'm not really quite sure where Kylie picked her taste in men up from. Maybe she wanted somebody slightly different to Dad. Anyway, it's all good. They're down there working together, so they're still talking to each other, so that's a good sign. Okay, so these two here, the extra, the 5th and the 6th one, are going to be our fence posts, I suppose you'd call them. I'm going to just bring in my banner punch. I'm just going to give them a little bit of a post, a fence post look just at the top there, just to make them a wee bit different. Here we are. They're quite long. They're a bit longer than they need to be at the moment. I'm going to trim them off when we're done, but I'm going to then get my double-sided tape out and pop it on at least the top part. Is that the right way? No, that's which way? I don't know which way I've got the wood grain going, upwards or downwards. So just some double-sided tape there. And then I'm going to line it up again. I love my grid paper for lining things up and making sure they're central. So I'm going to sort of go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 grids in, and then line my fence post up with that. There we are. And then do the same on the other side. So I know that they're straight and symmetrical. Okay, so do the same, line that up. 1, 2, 3 in. Make sure it's the same at the top. Oop. There we are. So that's our little fence there. Isn't that cute? That's so cute. Now I'm just going to trim, get my paper snips and trim off that excess down the bottom. There we are. And there's our little gate with our blue sky behind it. That's so cute. So as I say, this Rain or Shine Designer Series paper is still available. It's still reduced, obviously. Its price is reduced, and it's but it will retire come early May when the new catalogue is launched. Okay, so now we can pop our easel together. We've got the front there. So obviously, if I was just making this a normal card, the card back would be, you know, attached. There'd be a score at the top and it'd be attached, and that would be just a normal card. But as I say, we're going to go a little bit extra and make this one a reverse easel. Okay, so I'm just going to pop some glue on the top. So that's the front facing part of my easel. And then I'll bring this in, and because we've lined it up already, we know it's exactly the right length. We can just line those two up, and top, bottom and sides, and they should be right, which they sort of are. Sort of are. Don't know what I've done there. Close enough. I'll just line them up there. Okay. And so that's our easel there. Yeah. So now we can do the extra fun bit and start decorating. So I'm going to get the little piece of daisy cardstock there, which I said is the same as the clouds, but it's the lower part. I'm going to pop that on the bottom, so it looks like when it's closed, it looks like they've got daisies behind the fence, which I think is really cool. So we'll pop that little daisies there. And because this is an easel card, it's going to need a little footstop. So what I'm going to use is a strip of white, because I had so many strips of white around. I think this is 3/4 of an inch wide and 4 1/8 long. I've got a tiny little offcut of our daisies there. So just a little bit more, and I'm going to pop those together, and that's going to be my little step. It goes all the way along, so this one's not going anywhere when it's together. There we are. So that's there. On the back of these, I'll put some dimensionals to give it that height that it needs to be a step. Now I had a already started pack of dimensionals here somewhere, and they've gone. What's that on the floor? No, that'll do. Okay, so I'm going to pop some dimensionals on the back of our little foot stop. Now, with an easel card, the same goes all the time. You decide whether you want it to sit up nice and high, which means your foot stop has to be towards the back. If you're really happy for it to sit a bit forward, you can pop your foot stop towards the front. I want this to sit up quite high, so I'm going to actually pop my foot stop right towards the back of that designer series paper. Now, if you wanted to, you could have that designer series paper go all the way back. I cheated a bit because I had strips this long. That's what I've decided to do. And obviously I can write my personal message on the top half there. That's me just cheating because that's the amount of paper, the width of the paper that I had available. So yeah, that's what I've done here. But as I say, if you've got a whole sheet you want to use or use up, you can definitely use the whole length of that paper. So there's our foot stop. That's going to stop it from falling forward. Okay. Now, sentiments. I've got one. This is a stitched square from the Stylish Shapes dies. So I'm going to use that there just on the front. And the main sentiment I'm going to pop. This is from the Radiating stitched dies. They're in the online exclusives. This little circle with the radiating stitches, so it looks like sunbeams. I think it looks like a sun, so I'm going to use it as a sun on this one, and I've cut that in Daffodil Delight, but you could use whatever yellow of your choice. I'm going to pop that up there with a sentiment on it, so the sun's got a sentiment. And also I've got on my original card I used the little tortoise holding a flower, but this time I've fussy cut. It's just fussy cut from the designer series paper, this little rabbit having a lovely leap of happiness. So I'm going to pop him down there as well. Okay, so what do we do first? Sentiments. Okay, so for this one, I thought I'd put hello in the sun there. This is from the Irresistible Blooms. This is also an online exclusive. So hello in the sun and hooray, it's your day. I thought I'd put on the little circle, little square inside. So just going to use some blackie, which I should have had out already. This is the thing with this setup here. You can see you've got shadows. As I said to Sammy, I'm not quite sure I like the light so close because you get shadows, but he tells me that that's what all the impressive video makers do. So who am I to argue? But anyway, we'll see. I might change it. We're always learning and changing, aren't we? That's the idea. Okay, so hello. I haven't tested the hello. Hopefully the hello will fit on my sun. Yeah, not too bad. There we are. Hello. So the sun's up there saying a bright hello. I'm just going to glue this one. I think this card's got enough dimension happening. I'm not going to pop any more dimensionals on there. But you could, of course, pop that on dimensionals as well. And our little bouncy bunny, I'm going to pop glue on him. Now, because I've got that window sheet behind, you don't have to be too worried about putting glue in places it shouldn't, because it's going to be stopped from oozing through by the window sheet. If you do your card like I have with just the reinforcement rather than the window sheet, you do have to be a wee bit careful that you don't put glue in the gaps of that fence. You'll end up sticking your card together, which would be bad. Okay, so there we are. So that's our little hello. And then we'll sit this up on its And then what was it going to be? Hooray, it's your day. So this is obviously a birthday card. Pop this in the little square. Is that going to fit? Only just. Okay, close enough's near enough. It's a little bit too far over. I was overcompensating. Let's go a little bit further out. Oh, did it twice. Okay, that's the way that's supposed to be. That one's not quite as bad. We'll use that one. And I'm just going to glue that as well. Down here. There we are. Okay, so that's mostly done. What I'm going to use, our little brushed brass butterflies. So try saying that quickly a few times. Our little brushed brass butterflies are continuing in the next catalogue as well. So I thought, what else would you need on a beautiful sunny day but some flitty, flotty butterflies around you? So I'm going to pop some of those on as well. You could use, and I thought about using where are they? The loose daisy embellishments. I thought they would be cute as well. So yeah, take your choice. But I'm going to stick with my brushed brass butterflies. Flitting around. I'll have to get some more. There we are. Okay, so we've got our cute little guy sitting there, standing there next to his fence, leaping for joy. And it turns into a cute easel like that. And as I say, you can pop your personal message in there, or if you've got a whole strip of paper, you could use the whole paper. I think I did with the other one. Did I do it with the other one? Let's have a look. Because this is all brand new paper. Yeah, you can see this one. I took the paper all the way up, which is because it's brand new paper. I had plenty of it around. So as I say, that's the, what did I say? It was Cheerful Daisies. It's really nice. It's going to be a big feature in the craft room from next month. Okay, so that is my, what do we call it? Trestle Fence Reverse Easel Fold Card. It's a bit of a mouthful, that one. So yeah, hopefully you like that one. And yeah, I really love those little characters. I'm going to be using those little characters for a long time, I should think. As Nicole said, a few cute daisies. Yes, I thought about that, Nicole. I was going to fussy cut some of the daisies from the paper, but they all had little blue sort of backgrounds to them, and they looked a bit weird against the white with the background. Maybe if I could find a daisy that doesn't have the background, I could do that. But yeah, I think that would be cute. Or just like a little row of grass. If you had like a grass punch or a grass die or something, that would be really cute as well. But I couldn't find one. So yeah, improvements will along the way. It would be most welcome. I'd love to see what you come up with. As I say, this reverse gate card is what I'm featuring. In my Come Craft With Me session on Tuesday evening. That's Australian time, 7:30. So if you're interested in come along and craft one, all the measurements are in the event, and you're very welcome to come along. It's a lovely group of ladies. We have a bit of a laugh. Take a lot longer to make the card than we should because we're giggling and laughing the whole time, but it's a lovely evening. Just no pressure, no selling, just get together with friends around the country and the world to do some crafting. So yeah, pop along on Tuesday night if you are interested to come along. I'm going to make another one. Obviously, I'm going to make a reverse gate fold, but I thought I might make it the same sort of thing with the irresistible blooms, just to do something a wee bit different. But yeah, so it'll be a reverse gate card like this, but it'll be the flowery one instead. So have a great whatever day it is, Friday night, Saturday, great weekend coming up. I'm going to head up the road now and see the final parts of the greenhouse going up the road and see my mum. And I will catch you all again during the week. So, any questions about anything, please yell out. I'm here to help with the products, with the folds, with the measurements. I'll put the measurements up as soon as I can. And I'm glad to see you all. So see you during the week. Okay, bye.